Picture a small group of coders in a cramped Boston apartment in the early 2000s, huddled around screens not to sell a product, but to rewrite the rules of who gets to create culture and knowledge. They aren't working for a corporation, they're collaborating freely, sharing code, music, and ideas. What if this small experiment hinted at a global shift? The internet isn't just a marketplace, it's a booming commons of networks poised to remake freedom and creativity. But how? Let's dive in. What happens when people stop waiting for big companies and start producing information together? That's where Benkler flips the script, showing a new economy where sharing beats selling. Take Wikipedia, born in 2001, a no-budget encyclopedia that soon outpaced traditional giants like Britannica. Without paid experts, millions of volunteers worldwide began rewriting the very idea of knowledge. Suddenly, the authoritative voice wasn't just the expert in the ivory tower, it was anyone with a keyboard. Benkler calls this social production, a watershed moment proving collective work can outpace markets. Benkler describes this shift as commons-based peer production, a system more like a jazz band than a factory assembly line. Imagine a massive jam session where no one's boss, but everyone listens, riffs off each other, and builds something bigger. Unlike traditional markets reliant on ownership and hierarchy, these networks rely on shared resources and voluntary cooperation, unleashing creativity on a scale once unimaginable. The payoff, a newly expanded arena of individual freedom and cultural diversity. When production isn't locked behind corporate gates, anyone from a grandmother blogging poetry to a teenager remixing music can join in, express themselves, and push cultural boundaries. The network doesn't just produce information, it creates a freer, richer democracy of voices. Benkler argues the internet isn't just tech, it's an economy restructuring how we create and share. This networked model challenges old rules that treated info like a product to hoard and sell. Digital bits differ from physical goods, they aren't scarce. Once you digitize a song or an article, copying it costs almost nothing. Benkler likens this to water flowing through many pipes simultaneously. Unlike a bottle you can only drink once, digital info is infinitely reusable. This flips traditional economics upside down, forcing new ways to think about value and ownership. Because sharing is almost free, information spreads like wildfire. Think about YouTube or open-source software, millions available for free, created by unknown communities, often outstripping costly corporate-produced content. This viral spread of knowledge changes power dynamics, making control by a few gatekeepers nearly impossible to sustain. But this revolution threatens entrenched businesses built on info scarcity. Publishers, record labels, and broadcasters push back hard, lobbying for stricter laws to privatize and control content. Benkler warns that these legal battles will either cement a closed industrial era or protect the open networks that sustain freedom and creativity for all. The internet's power isn't automatic. Policy and law shape whether this networked wealth serves freedom or control. Benkler challenges us to make urgent choices that'll define decades. Laws like fair use and open licenses build the cultural commons people can remix and reuse. Benkler points to Creative Commons licenses as game changers. They let artists share on their terms, nurturing a global garden of creativity. This legal openness doesn't just protect work, it empowers everyone to build on culture freely. On the flip side, policies tilting towards strict copyright and surveillance choke the flow of information. The digital networks that could empower the many risk becoming tools of corporate and government control, limiting what you can say, create, or see. It's a subtle but profound threat to democracy itself. So here's your part. As users, creators, voters, and thinkers, the rules we accept today write tomorrow's internet. You can champion openness, support projects sharing knowledge freely, advocate for policies guarding information commons, and resist control-heavy laws. Your voice is a key node in this vast network, shaping whether it builds or breaks freedom. Remember those coders in Boston? Their small act of sharing foreshadowed a global transformation. Benkler shows us a crossroads. We can lock down information or open it wide, letting anyone create and learn. So next time you share a meme, contribute to a wiki, or simply explore online, think about how you're part of this vast network of wealth. Try this, support one open project today. It's a small step toward a freer future. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.